Hey guys, this is Medusa Was Framed, and this is Joyce. This is totally off the cuff, and this is the only image you're going to see. I've been sitting here thinking, made myself a cup of tea. So I thought we'd have some tea and no sympathy. Like you've heard of the phrase tea and sympathy. Well, this is tea and no sympathy. Not scripted, just going to talk. You know, there are all kinds of people who make all kinds of money just turning on their computer and sitting in front of it after they've spent a lot of time making themselves look as good as possible with their light ring and all that stuff. So they keep the allure going. And it's as much about you looking at them or them being seen by you as it is about the intel they're supplying. I say with a question mark. I think it's really interesting as someone who does energy work, medical body work, energy work, site work, grid work. I'm very much aware of the magnetics at all times, the dynamics in the water, the dynamics in things that you would consider inanimate. The quartz in the sand on the beach, the quartz in the sand at the bottom of the river or the ocean, quartz that's in the rock on the beach. In my case, the quartz that's in the shells, that's in the coquina, in the Castillo San Marcos, all these things. I am able to, I don't know, harmonize with, magnetize with. There's a lot of change going on, you know. But you almost wouldn't know it because Johnny Depp and Amber Heard are all over TV. And there are people making money on channels replaying the hearings and commentating. Man, oh man, bread and circuses. Well, for these people, I got tea and no sympathy. Oh, I've got the front door open and there's a siren going by. Sorry about that. There it goes. You know, we all have to make a living. I certainly do. I am far from a wealthy person, and I don't make you responsible for that. I started this channel because I am weird and nerdy and wanted to share my weird, nerdy interests. For those of you that contribute and thank me in deed and in kind, I thank you very much. I appreciate it. You definitely helped me, but I'm not counting on it. I just, you know, I used to follow when all this nonsense started and we were all locked up. There were so many people I followed. I don't follow any of them anymore, mostly because it hardly matters at this point. Things are rolling the way they're rolling. And if the whole buy gold and silver isn't a scam and you don't see that yet, I don't know what to tell you. Everybody's selling gold and silver, man. Please tell me you see that that's a scam. There are a couple people that I bought t-shirts for, a couple channels, because I thought that the message on the t-shirt was significant. Most of it was for snarky reasons early on. I don't buy anything from anybody anymore. I have bought some survival food. I have my survival food, but that's something that'll last forever. And I don't listen to that person anymore either. It's all a distraction. People that just regurgitate the same old, same old, same old. Come on. I'll admit, I watch a little of the Johnny Depp trial every day because it's hilarious. The fact that the trial is going on in the first place and people can't look at that and see that the whole thing is scripted just boggles my mind. That's the first thing. It's like watching a movie. I mean, literally, that is a movie. That whole thing is scripted. Now, beyond that, the fact that there are people with channels making money doing live stream countdown discussions of the crap that goes on, and people call into those channels, log on to those channels, and give them money. That to me is just pathetic. We're in bad shape. You people think that's news? That's like the people who have been kicked off of YouTube. I won't name them, but there are people that rip their videos and repost them on their own channels, and then people subscribe to those channels and send them money. You guys are hilarious. Really. You love your distractions. Too funny. I'm going to have my sip of my tea that comes without sympathy. But I got all distracted. I started to talk about someone who is sensitive and keyed into these things. The world we live in really, truly has changed. And I'm not talking about the whole COVID thing. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the ether in the air. I'm talking about the quality of the moisture in the ground. Everything has changed. Have you noticed if you walk outside without your phone, without somebody talking to you, and just walk out in your backyard or somewhere where it's beautiful and just listen? Have you noticed that the silence sounds different? Have you noticed that the sun feels different? Coming from Florida, I'm very familiar with the sun. It's different. The ground feels different. The magnetics are different. The water is different. And I don't just mean the water in the lakes and ponds and oceans. I mean the water that you don't see, the ether that's in the air that you're made of too. It's all changed. The magnetics have changed. I do work at some of the, and there are many of them here, battle sites, indigenous slaughter sites, repurposed into tourism, war sites here. And there are a lot here in northeastern Florida, a lot. And I'm able to key in to the frequencies there. It's hard to even try to put this into words, but I'm trying. I'm able to key into the frequencies and hear information. And it is different. the information is different. The way the information comes is different. When I go to these places, sometimes I can see the battles that were fought there, which is part of why I know #history is all lies. I can see the things that happened. If you're familiar with Dr. Emoto's work with water, you know that water really truly does respond to your frequency, to your meditation, to your feeling. Now, if Dr. Emoto can do that with glasses of water and a freezer and a microscope and a camera, what do you think the water around a war site is holding? What do you think about the aquifers, the underground water, the water that's deep in the earth, that sometimes only comes up in cenotes? What do you think that water is holding on to? What do you think about what the water, the rivers, where battles were fought, people were slaughtered? What does that water hold? What do you think? Do you think it goes away? It doesn't go away. It's still there. Something that I have been called to do was to go to places like that and to hear those frequencies and make an effort to release some of that amnesia, as someone once called it. So, for instance, when you come to a place like St. Augustine, which wiped out an entire tribe, not tribe, the Timucua were the original indigenous people here when the Spaniards arrived. They were 6, 7 feet tall. Within 200 years, they were all gone. I think that they were more than a tribe. They were giants. Those are just the ones we know about, the 6, 7 footers. I think they were more than just a tribe. There were giants everywhere. The Moors were giants. I think they were the Moors. But anyway, the Spanish and then the British wiped them all out. No, actually, by the time the British got here, they were all gone. The Spanish wiped them all out. So what do you think this tourist place and other tourist places that are built around slaughter hold? What do you think that the ground holds of that time? What do you think that the stones and the trees hold? They hold all that memory. And that comes into you in frequency patterns that you consciously probably can't feel, but they're frequencies nonetheless. And just like some songs make you happy and some songs piss you off, the frequencies of the natural world around us affect us every minute of every day. Now, if there's been a battle somewhere, or there's a cemetery and there are dead buried there, that's a hallowed, sacred place. And it should be treated as a hallowed, sacred place. Battlefields should be sacred. those dead will never leave that land. The frequency of the slaughter remains and always will. And sensitive people can hear it, feel it, sense it, identify it, know what it is, and talk to you about it. I'm using St. Augustine as an example because that's where I live, and this is where I do the work, some of the work that I do. But it's here, and it's affecting people. And it's getting stronger as the attempt to stuff it down and hide it and whitewash it and turn it into something pretty that someone can sell, like a ghost tour, only makes it stronger. And up until now, that had all been all hunky-dory. People made all kinds of money off of that stuff. People still are. People love coming here and hearing the bullcrap stories about the noble savages. How the Spanish were all good Catholics coming here to bring the word of Jesus to the land, save the heathen. But you see, the frequencies of the earth are changing. And that is affecting us because we are part of this world. And people are waking up. And that's where the cognitive dissonance comes in. Slowly, there aren't quite as many people on the tours as there used to be. Where people are asking questions, where people are listening to videos that talk about truth. I have been shown how the water, the groundwater beneath us is changing in a molecular form. I've seen it. I've seen it change. I've seen the ley lines in the land, all the sacred geometry that once controlled this area here, all these star forts in Northeast Florida. I've seen the ley lines light back up. The whole electrical grid of the earth is changing. In the grid, in the earth and outside of the earth, in the atmosphere around us, it's all changing. And these things are lighting up. And people are waking up. A little more tea without sympathy. You know, I just think sometimes it's important to reinforce to people that they might like listening to certain people videos. Oh, because they like the intel that somebody gets. But you know, that shit is addicting as anything else. I mean, I speak from experience. There were people that if they didn't put a video out that day, I was sad. It was a long time ago. It was way in the beginning when none of us knew everything. People are still that way. But I really got to ask, how authentic can somebody be if they spend at least a third of their show time showing you all the crap they sell on their website, or their shows having gone from being informational to advertising their friends who sell crap that they get commission on? Do you guys ever question that? I understand having a Patreon account, right? I understand that. I appreciate when you guys buy me coffees. You can subscribe to my channel if you want and help me out. You can pay me a couple bucks a month and help me out. I appreciate that. And I'll do what I can to make it worth your while with benefits. But I'm not basing my whole business plan on that, because then I'm not really about the truth anymore, am I? Then I'm about making money. So if the bottom line is money, how much really can you count on my intel? Do you ever think about that? If all I do is interview the same people who are in my cadre and we're all in selling this gold or this silver or this t-shirt or this class, can you really trust my intel? I don't think so. At least that's me. And for all the people out there who see these classes about this and that, I'm not going to name anybody in particular, but people who sell very expensive online courses to get trained and do this and do that and do this and do that because that's what they did, and oh, they're great and they've written books and la-di-da. You know, you can go to this place called Udemy, Udemy, udemy.com, and you can take all those same courses, but they won't cost you $400, $500, $600, $700. It'll cost you about 20. And though they're not taught by these people, you get the same information. Actually, it's better because you get the opportunity to think. You're not just listening to their mucky muck. It's funny, hilarious. Tea and no sympathy. I felt a big change with this last eclipse. I literally feel like my skin fell off and I am being birthed anew in some way. And I've talked to a lot of people who have said the same thing. Really interesting. Powerful, powerful frequencies. The soil feels different. Things are going to fall apart because they have to. But what I want to reiterate to everybody is you already know the truth. You already know what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. You just might not have a fluency to that language. But you know. You don't need all this intel from everybody all the time. You don't need someone to explain the Johnny Depp trial to you or anything else. You don't even need to watch the news. The news is about someone giving you a pre-written interpretation of data. You're sitting in front of a computer. You can go find data anytime and anywhere and come to your own conclusions. And as much as the truther movement on YouTube started as standing up to the lies of the media, the biggest channels are of people who have now become what they originally sought out to fight against, or so we're told. Do you really think that these great big channels of truthers are completely authentic and clean? With all of their supposed military intel? You can say no. You don't need to be addicted to those channels. You have all the information you need within you. You might need to just spend more time outside or in your garage or your workshop, twiddling around with whatever your hobby or craft is. Because then you're quietly with yourself. And that's when the truth comes. Tarot cards, pendulums, runes, all that stuff is just an antenna for your intuition. You already know the answers. But these tools help you learn to translate in. So think of these truthers as the same. They're like tarot cards. They have access to the same information you do. The tarot cards antenna what your synchronistic higher self already understands and puts it in a language that you learn to interpret. You've learned the language. Well, the news people are doing the same thing, and these big channel truthers are doing the same thing too. You already know all the answers, but you're counting on them to give it to you instead of counting on your own antenna, your own tools. If you read tarot cards, you don't need to listen to anybody's channel or throw runes or use a pendulum or whatever your style is. You don't need to listen to anybody's channel. You've already got the information. And if you don't have any of that information, I'm encouraging you to learn how to access it in some way. And no, I'm not going to sell you a course to learn how. Instead of paying these hacks with these huge channels who just recycle the same information over and over and over amongst themselves and sell you crap that you don't need at a time when honestly everybody should be paring down, getting ready for a kind of spiritual hibernation. They're selling you crap. They want you to clean out your bank accounts with fair porn and turn all your money into silver and gold or crypto. Because they're selling something. They're selling fear. They're getting paid to sell fear. They're jumping on the bandwagon and telling you how you got to buy silver. Oh my God, you got to buy silver. You got to get your money out of the bank. They're paid. They're dirty and they're paid. They're paid to do it. I assure you. So instead of paying for them to give you this fear porn, which now your endorphins count on, why don't you take that money that you spend on them and go buy a deck of tarot cards or go to Michael's and buy some art supplies and just start drawing. Or go to the dollar store and buy a whole bunch of notebooks and just start journaling. Because you know what? You're going to very soon have access to the same information. No, you might not get it in the form that they give it to you because they present it in a way to hook you and it works. But you'll have access to the same information. You just have to learn the language of your unconsciousness, of your higher self. And then you get to build that and build your discernment. And then in the long run, at the end of it all, you're more contained, you're calmer. You're not counting on this person or that person to give you this intel. Now, you might like people's channels. Like, I would venture to say that anybody subscribed to my channel just likes my goofy self and likes the goofy way I put nerdy information together. And thank you for that. But you're not counting on me. You're not, oh my God, what did Joyce say today? We don't care. It's just fun. But I know there are people that spend a great deal of time talking about what so-and-so said on their channel or so-and-so said on their channel. That's pretty sad. And then they buy all their products, their vitamins and their t-shirts. Oh, gosh. I've talked a lot and said nothing. I drank half my cup of tea. I just wanted to yip yap a little bit, kind of be like this crow. And I'm not a motivational speaker, but I like to cut to the chase of stuff. Bottom line is, everything around us has already started to change. And there are things, as we know, that are never going to be the same ever again. There are things that are going to go away and they're not going to come back in the form we've known. And we're all going to have to change. And part of that change is adapting to the discomfort of the different levels of awareness that you develop as you truly awaken unconscious parts of yourself to this. Now, me, I think I'm a fairly astute, awake person. I've known this was bull crap from the beginning. You know, I'm in Florida. We were only shut down for a month. But you know, people kept wearing masks, and depending on where you lived, even in the state, that was sometimes an issue. But we've been pretty open here. But I knew from the beginning it was all a bunch of hack. It was just a psych up. I knew it from the very beginning. It was startling to see the extremity of it and see all the fear porn and just people walking around in fear. And even though that's the case, and I'm an old broad, right? I've been around and seen a few things in my life. I've seen patterns in history occurring and recurring, and read quite a bit. So I see what we're going through being similar to things that have happened before, things that I've experienced, and certainly things that I've read about happening in various places in the world over time. Even I have dark nights of the soul through this because I have awakenings. And sometimes the first part of the awakening is the discomfort around it. Like, why do I feel like this? Why am I so randomly scared? Why am I terrified? All these things that we have been raised to venerate and or fear are all going to vanish. Money is not the most important thing. That's actually something that COVID should have taught everybody. Self-sufficiency and interdependence are the most important things. And self-sufficiency is not just about money. It's also a mental state. It's also about knowing that you're sovereign. Maybe you're not legally sovereign, but you know that at the end of the day, if you wake up tomorrow, I live in Florida. If I wake up tomorrow and there's a hurricane and everything that I have is gone, then everything that I have is gone. So what? I grew up in California. I grew up in an earthquake state. That's something we lived with all the time. You never know when an earthquake's going to come. There's a part of you that's got to accept that everything that you own could be destroyed and you got nothing to do about it. And even then, money's not going to be the most important thing. Your ability to surf through whatever happens and whatever you lose is the most important thing. And sometimes what you lose is old thinking that you don't need anymore. Actually, you never needed it in the first place. It was all lies. It was part of the conditioning. See, I think what people call 5D is already here. It's not something like a spaceship is going to come down from the Council of Nine and there's going to be the Arcturians and the Palladians and all that crap. No. I mean, I can honestly tell you they're already here. If you are magnetically sensitive, there are other forms of biomagnetism. They've always been around. It appears to me that as our collective frequencies raise, these elementals, shall we say, are choosing to lower their frequencies to an extent that won't hurt them, but allows us to take in more of their, shall we say, light. They're here. They've always been here, but they've been cloaked. They're not as cloaked as they used to be. And you can call them whatever you want. I don't get into, are they the Arcturians, or they're the Cassiopeans, or they the Orion? It doesn't matter. Really, it doesn't matter. The important thing is to realize that we're not the center of the universe. And there is a higher biofrequency of life around us. When you get to that awareness, you're in 5D. When you are more interested in living ethically and contributing to the value of the human race and the biosphere, you're in 5D. That is 5D. When you can walk out and stand at the river and draw in your quiet and hear the messages in the water, or hear the messages in the electricity and the wind, you're in 5D. It's not something that's going to come and change and a blast of light that's going to take you on a ship due to, no. It's here. It's always been here. There are people who have always been in, quote, 5D or higher. It's not someplace you're going to go. And it isn't something that's going to be done to you. It's an evolutionary process that you are going to choose or not. And the more you accept the need to evolve with the process that's going on, the easier it's going to be for you, but it's still going to be hard. I've had some horrible days where there was all kinds of stuff coming out of my body. Coming out of my body, physically coming out of my body, but coming out of my body as trauma and emotion and life and old thinking that doesn't serve me. And like, whoa, what was that? Couldn't get off the couch for a couple days. That's happened more than once in all this process. I'm sure it's happened to you too. It's happened to everyone that I've talked to, everyone that has an inkling of sensitivity or awareness. Yeah, 5D is already here. And it has nothing to do with gold or silver or crypto or what kind of car you drive or whose channel you belong to or what intel they have, or if you are certified in this or that. None of that has anything to do with evolving with the process. And here's something that's going to piss a lot of people off. No one can sell you a class and teach you any of this. So when you see on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or wherever, I'm not on any of them anymore, it's all BS and it's all going to be taken down anyway. People that are selling this, oh, take this shaman course, train to be a shaman for $39.99. Learn the law of one. Let me train you. Let me train you. Let me take you on a spirit quest. Let me teach you how to be a psychedelic mushroom provider. Let me sell you my crap. That's all it is. It's all crap. You don't need any of that. It's more fear porn. They know you're scared. They know you're feeling unstable, and they are looking for that one person who will go, oh, I've heard about this. Maybe this will help me. No, don't spend the money. They're hacks. They're selling you used cars. And I'm telling you, if you're really the kind of person who needs to take a class to learn, and I understand that that's how some people learn, and that's something that's going to change too, you know, that's going to change too. That conditioning that you have to be taught to learn is also going to change. Anything that anybody is selling on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, including remote viewing and intuitive this and tarot that, you can learn it all on Udemy for between $10 and $30 a class. Yep. So don't pay these hacks, because that's all they are, is hacks. They're taking advantage of you. They didn't write a class because they really want to help people. If they really wanted to help people, they'd be out helping people. They're selling crap. That's all it is. They're selling fear porn. They're selling doubt. Don't waste your money. They're perpetuating the 3D concept of the only way that you can learn is if you're taught. Bullshit. You don't need to be taught to learn. You don't need to be taught to learn. You can learn whatever you want. All the knowledge in the world is right in front of your fingertips right now, on your computer, on your phone, on your tablet. But it's also in your higher mind. And what you should be spending your time and money on, instead of these hack classes or joining these insider private club, give me $100 a month and you get a free reading and blah, 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 blah. Instead of all that nonsense and tying in to the endorphin rush of hearing them every day, which you are addicted to or you wouldn't be subscribed. Instead of spending that time and that money on that addiction, invest it back into you and go learn on your own. Just be a sponge. Pour whatever beverage you want, alcohol included, and go sit outside, smoke a cigarette, take a blunt, do whatever. Go to hell, all those people that told you you can't do this and you can't drink and you can't smoke and you can't eat meat or you're not going to evolve. Bullshit. When your body tells you that it doesn't want to smoke, eat meat, drink, then you will stop because you won't want it anymore. Until then, surf along with what works for you and just don't resist what comes as change when things start not working anymore. I don't eat meat anymore, not because I have any kind of big attitude about it, but it tastes terrible to me. I recently have lost my taste and desire for potatoes, and let me tell you, that breaks my heart. Really, this girl raised by Germans is heartbroken that I have no taste for potatoes. Breaks my heart. Meat, I didn't mind giving up. Potatoes, I'm devastated. But take your favorite addiction, take your favorite substance and go sit outside. Right now, go sit outside. Just sit out there and chill. Just don't take your phone with you. And just be there and listen and feel and absorb what comes to you. And do that every night without your phone. And you know what? That won't cost you a thing. Just the cost of whatever's in your cup or your pipe or whatever. And you will learn more valuable information in that communion with the natural world than you will learn from any of these jackasses selling overpriced programs and t-shirts and hats and insider clubs or retreats. You're going to learn more and connect more to the earth and the plasma and the magnetic frequencies in the world around you. By doing that, yes, even if you're smoking a doobie or drinking whiskey or smoking a cigarette while you're doing it, you're going to connect more to what counts, the natural world around you, the biomagnetic sphere that you are an active part of. You will do more for yourself, for your higher intelligence, for your part of the magnetic frequency of the earth and all the life on it by sitting outside with a doobie every night than paying somebody's monthly insider blah, 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 and counting on the endorphin of their show every day. Yes, it's true. But to do that, you have to accept the fact that all these ways of learning that you've been taught are crap. And all they have been is programming you to be controlled. And that's a hard pill to swallow. And it can be a really hard knife to pull out of your own chest. But if you don't, you're going to suffer in ways you can't imagine, because this change is going to keep happening. And you're going to be swimming upstream the whole time. So I don't know what time I started. I don't know what time it is now, but I feel like I've talked in circles enough and I drank my whole cup of tea. So for those of you that hung out the whole time, this picture of the crow is exactly how I felt. It's still how I feel. I appreciate you. Be irreverent. Say, hell no. Do what you need to do for yourself. Take the time that you need. Tell people no. Question more. Laugh at yourself. Laugh at your reactions. Laugh at your fears. If you're ever afraid, just take off your shoes and go stand outside in the grass and feel what comes to you. All the questions that you need answering can be answered by getting in touch with the elemental world around you and your higher self. You're valued, you're important, You are an essential part of this change. Essential. You are so dynamic and powerful. So much effort has been made to suck all that out of you, to make you think that you are too stupid to even take care of your own thinking. And these people who sell you their sponsorships and products on YouTube or whatever are part of the problem. They're not as interested in giving you valuable data for your life as they are as keeping the entertainment up so you keep paying them. They're entertainers. They're not teaching you to think for yourself. And that, I hope, at the end of the day, at the end of every video of mine, and simply at the end of the day, I hope that is the most important thing that you remember and use as a gauge. If I listen to this person, am I learning their view? Or am I being given an opportunity to think more discerningly for myself? I hope that you make the commitment to yourself to always think more discerningly for yourself. Be this crow. Learn to hear what the crows have to say, and the water, and the wind. Get really, really, really quiet inside yourself. Get really, really, really quiet and just listen. All the answers will come. You'll start to find that some of the questions you have don't even matter anymore because you've been given the answers in a different form. Sometimes the answer doesn't come in a form that suits the question, but it comes in a bigger dynamic answer that answers both the initial question and more questions to come. But that's the stuff that you have to learn the language to discern. All right, guys, I've yapped enough. Thanks for those of you who hung out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a good week ahead. I appreciate you. This is Joyce saying aloha.